Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our Discovery unit today, and we're talking about a TV show, not on the Discovery Channel, but on TLC, and it's called Our Little Family. This is a program about little people, or people who have dwarfism, which is a kind of genetic mutation which makes their limbs shorter than everybody else's. So they're not as big as other people, and they have unique challenges, and that's what this TV show is all about.
Yeah, so we're going to be spending some time with the Hamill family. The parents are Dan and Michelle, and they've got 3 kids. And we're going to look and see what challenges they face, what obstacles they have to overcome as they deal with life as little people, as they like to be called these days. I know when I was growing up, we had the word midget or dwarf. Those words aren't considered to be polite. So I think the best thing, if you have friends or know people who have dwarfism, just to ask them what they would like to be referred to as, because, that's a polite thing to do. We're going to take a look over 2 days at this family. It's our Discovery unit. Let's get started, guys. We're going to read through day 1.
In the Hamill family's household, life can be just as good small as it is tall. Dan and Michelle Hamill, as well as their 3 children, Jack, Cece, and Kate, have achondroplasia, which is a form of short-limbed dwarfism. The Hamills are also the focus of TLC's show Our Little Family. Everyday life can be a struggle for those who live with achondroplasia, and the show follows the Hamills as they teach their children to overcome the obstacles each new day brings. As children, Dan and Michelle faced many complications in a world that wasn't built for them. About 80% of people with achondroplasia are born to average-sized parents, resulting from a spontaneous mutation in the gene that regulates the development of bone tissue. Such was the case for Dan and Michelle, who were both born to average-sized parents. Michelle's mother, whom the children affectionately call Nana, gave birth to 2 average-sized sons after Michelle. She didn't treat Michelle any differently from her brothers, however, and Michelle believes this is the reason she was able to build up her self-confidence over the years. Michelle's resolve comes in handy when she starts planning a birthday party for the twins, Cece and Kate. She knows it has to be a celebration to remember, as achondroplastic children born to parents with the same condition have a much lower rate of survival. The fact that the girls made it to their 3rd birthday is considered a blessing. Finding a venue and the perfect gifts is no mean feat, though, especially after Dan decides he wants to build the girls brand new beds for their big day. Luckily, Dan and Michelle are armed with a lifetime of tips and tricks to use in surmounting the curveballs such a simple task might throw at them.
Hi, everybody. We're going to be talking about the Hamill family. We've got parents named Dan and Michelle, and they've got 3 kids, Jack, Cece, and Kate. Yeah, those are cute names. So anyway, they have a motto in their family: life can be just as good small as it is tall. So height doesn't predict whether you're going to have a happy life, right? No, that's what they live with. That's their life motto. That's their slogan. So they've got these 3 kids, and they all have something called achondroplasia, which is defined as a form of short-limbed dwarfism. So if you're short-limbed, it just means your arms and legs are not regular size. So a limb could be either an arm or a leg, and dwarfism is when someone has a smaller body and their limbs aren't in proportion with everything.
Right. This is a medical term, dwarfism, and I guess based on the context of this sentence, there are different kinds of dwarfism out there. We're talking specifically about one called achondroplasia. As this sentence says, it's a form of short-limbed dwarfism, so basically their arms and their legs are going to be shorter than normal. And the Hamills are also the focus of TLC's show Our Little Family. TLC, that's the Travel and Learning or Travel and Living channel?
Living, yeah.
Okay. And, of course, they have lots of shows on. You got to check your local listings to see what shows are on. But this show is called Our Little Family. So it's a show that probably has many episodes over a period of time. Once a week, perhaps they'll have a different episode. And we're talking about their everyday life. It can be a struggle for those who live with achondroplasia. And the show follows the Hamill family as they teach their children to overcome the obstacles each new day brings. So we're talking about their everyday lives. Now, notice there, every day is one word it's being used to describe their lives, the lives that they have every day. If I said the lives they have every day, then that's two words, okay? But everyday life, that means it's an adjective. A lot of people use this wrong. Even native speakers screw it up all the time.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen a lot of Americans who write this wrong. So every day, when it's together, is an adjective. Be careful with that.
Like they say, I go to work every day. They write it as one word, but no,
two
it's
words.
Supposed to be two words.
That's right.
Going to work every day is part of my everyday life. There's just one word.
That's right. Very good. So the Hamills are the focus of the TLC's show, Our Little Family. And you can watch, it's a reality show. We can just call it that. It's a reality show that follows real people who are living their lives, and there's no script, or they're not looking at dialogue and memorizing it. They're not actors, they're real people. So this is one of the shows that has been on TLC. I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't been watching TV much the last couple of months.
I think a lot of people have stopped watching TV because of their phones. But in any case, if you're still interested in watching television, this is a program that is worth watching. It's talking about their everyday lives. And, of course, they have to teach the kids to overcome those obstacles. Of course, if you overcome something, that means you meet the challenge and you succeed in dealing with that problem or with that difficulty.
Yeah, you can defeat the obstacle, defeat your enemy. You overcome the obstacles. There are lots of obstacles that these folks have to live with. You could have an obstacle at work. Maybe your boss doesn't feel like you have the ability to be a good manager. So your obstacle is overcoming his doubts about you and showing your boss that you can do it. Well, these kids and parents have to overcome a lot of obstacles. Now, as children, Dan and Michelle, they faced many complications in a world that wasn't built for them. Think about it. Everything is built for average-sized people and not smaller folks, or little people, as they like to call themselves. A complication is when you have a situation that's difficult. You can't just go through something regularly. There are complications. We often use this word when someone has surgery, undergoes an operation in the hospital, and everything goes great, but suddenly maybe there's a complication. Maybe a vein bursts, and blood starts pouring out. Or maybe they have a stroke while they're on the operating table, being operated on their heart. Well, those two aren't connected, so that stroke is a complication, something that makes the situation harder and more difficult.
Exactly. So they've got complications, and I think a lot of people think that, well, if you're suffering from dwarfism, you're just small, but I think they also suffer from other problems as a result of that. I had a roommate back in college who was suffering from dwarfism, and he had a lot of pain issues. He was always in pain. His joints were in pain and stuff like that, so he had to take painkillers and stuff like that quite frequently. So these are some obstacles that they need to overcome, as well as people who probably cut in front of them all the time and don't pay attention to them, whatever. But in any case, about 80% of people with achondroplasia are born to average-sized parents, resulting from a spontaneous mutation in a gene that regulates the development of bone tissue. Okay, so this is basically talking about how this condition comes about. 80% of people who have this type of dwarfism, called achondroplasia, are born to average-sized parents. So, 80% of them have parents who are just regular size, like you and me. They're not small like these people. They are normal-sized people, but 5'8" or so, or something like that, 5'10" or whatever. But they come out this way. They're born this way because of a spontaneous mutation. Spontaneous means something just happens without any kind of plan or without any kind of, predisposition or any kind of organization or whatever. Spontaneous. Sometimes people like to have fun because things are spontaneous. Fun just happens. It wasn't planned that way. It just happened and it was fun.
Yeah. Some people are more spontaneous than others. I had a friend who was constantly wanting to skip school in college and go play. I was a little less spontaneous than my friend. So it's a mutation. A mutation happens when something goes wrong in your DNA. So mutation just means something is changing from what it was before. And that regulates, the mutation happens in the gene that actually controls or regulates the development of bone tissue. So that's why they suffer with this particular syndrome, the dwarfism. So such was the case for Dan and Michelle. They had actually average-sized parents. So their parents gave birth to them and probably were surprised because they were regular-sized. Michelle's mother, whom the children affectionately call Nana, gave birth to 2 average-sized sons after Michelle was born. So it's kind of interesting. You'd think once you had a baby who had dwarfism, maybe the rest of her kids would. Nope. She had 2 boys after Michelle that were average size. If you say something affectionately, you do it with a lot of love. Some people like to behave more affectionately. They'll give you kisses and hugs and things like that. They show that they're fond of you, that they love you. And they actually were very affectionate with Nana. It's just another word for grandma. Actually, there are a lot of different words people take on when they become grandparents.
Very good. Now, I'm terrible with family relations here, so let me see if I've got this straight. This program is about Dan and Michelle, and Michelle's mother is a normal person, right, of normal size, and then Michelle has 2 brothers who are normal-sized as well. So for some reason, she had a genetic mutation which was spontaneous, and she suffers from achondroplasia, but her brothers don't.
Now, Nana didn't treat her daughter Michelle any differently from her brothers, however. Sometimes families will treat someone in their family who's suffering from, some sort of condition or disease differently. But, Nana, Michelle's mom, thought, no, I'm going to treat her just the same as my boys. And she's going to have to deal with that. She's going to have to overcome some of these obstacles. So Michelle believes this is the reason she was able to build up her self-confidence over the years. She had to be tough, and so it actually helped her with her self-confidence. When you build up something, you increase it slowly over time. Sometimes anger can build up, and then one day you explode. So lots of things can build up over time. Here, it's a positive thing because we're talking about her self-confidence, how she feels towards herself, and whether she can be successful in life or not.
And she's pretty much a normal person.
Yeah.
If you don't pay too much attention to her dwarfism, she's probably just like you and me. Okay, that brings us to the midpoint of our lesson for today. Let's take a break right now and turn things over to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 从今天开始，连续2天我们都要介绍一个非常特别的家庭，我们称之为 The Little Family。我们首先来看到呢，在这里有提到这个家庭里面呢，他们都患有一种叫做 achondroplasia， 也就是呢软骨发育不全症。我们在第1段的第2个句子里面有看到Achondroplasia 在这里呢提到后面用逗号 which 补充说明 which is a form of short-limbed dwarfism 在这里呢提到它其实是一种短肢型的侏儒症。在这里看到一个复合形容词 short-limbed 在这里用形容词再加上名词 ed 就是一种复合形容词的一种组合方式。像我们常见的 high-heeled shoes指的是高跟鞋，或者是 absent-minded person 心不在焉的人，都是先用形容词然后连字号再加上名词 ed 组成的一个复合形容词。 这一家人呢 The Hamels 他们有什么特别的地方呢？在 TLC 频道里面就来介绍这一家人。第一段的最后一句提到 Everyday life can be a struggle for those who live with achondroplasia, and the show follows the Hamels as they teach their children to overcome the obstacles each new day brings.Everyday life 也就是日常的生活，对这些呢患有软骨发育不全症的人来说，可以说是一场奋斗。我们在这里用名词 struggle 来代表。而这个节目呢，就跟随着 The Hamels 夫妇看他们怎么教导孩子 to overcome the obstacles 来克服每一个新的一天所带来的障碍。Obstacle 在这里是有障碍物的意思。我们再继续往下面看，在一刚开始第二段有提到他们面临了很多的 complications， 其实 complications 还常见的有在医学上并发症的意思，不过在这里是代表着混乱的意思。第二段的第二个句子提到About 80% of people with achondroplasia are born to average-sized parents.Resulting from a spontaneous mutation in the gene that regulates the development of bone tissue. 在这里叙述呢，大约有 80% 的软骨发育不全的患者呢，他们是出生在这些一般身高的父母。有没有注意到这里的average sized 又是用形容词再加上名词 ed 的一种复合形容词的方式。而呢，它的起因是来自于哪里呢？后面有叙述 resulting from 起因于呢是基因的一种呢自发性的突变。Spontaneous 当作形容词，有不由自主的或者是自发的意思。A mutation 就是代表名词突变，是哪个基因呢？后面有个形容词子句，同学可以刮胡起来。That regulates the development of bone tissue.Regulate 是当作动词，是规律跟管制的意思。这样子的基因呢，是用来控管骨骼组织发展的基因，而 tissue 代表着就是组织的意思。最后一句在这一段里面提到 She didn't treat Michelle any differently from her brothers. However, and Michelle believes this is the reason she was able to build up her self-confidence over the years. 在这里的句子主词 she 代表着是 Michelle's mother. Michelle 呢是妈妈，而她的母亲在生下她，虽然也患有这样子的病呢，但是 she didn't treat Michelle any differently. 对待她的兄弟跟对待她并没有不同。而正是因为这个原因 she was able to build up her confidence. 而这里的 she 代表就是 Michelle. 正是因为这样子，她就逐渐的增强自己的自信心。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, let's continue with our lesson. Again, we're talking about a TV show called Our Little Family. It's about the Hamel family. We've got Dan and Michelle Hamel, and it's also about their three children, Jack, Cece, and Kate. And Michelle here, and I guess Dan too, suffer from achondroplasia, which is a kind of short-limbed dwarfism, and it comes about through a spontaneous mutation in a gene that has to do with bone tissue. Basically, people who suffer from achondroplasia have short limbs, short arms, and short legs. But other than that, they're pretty much normal like everybody else. Now, let's move on here and talk some more about Michelle. We talked a bit about her mother and how she raised Michelle and her brothers to be equal, so she was able to build up her confidence. So Michelle's resolve comes in handy when she starts planning a birthday party for the twins Cece and Kate. So this is her resolve, okay? Resolve, most of the times, is a verb. It means to settle a problem. Let's resolve our differences, for example. But here, resolve is being used as a noun. It just talks about your determination, how committed you are to accomplishing something.
Yeah, you need a lot of resolve in this life if you want to accomplish things. You're not going to let things beat you, so she had a lot of resolve, a lot of determination, a lot of strength in her own self. And this comes in handy when she starts planning a birthday party for the twins, Cece and Kate. So this is the mom planning a birthday party for her kids who also have dwarfism.
Okay.
Now, if something comes in handy, it just it arrives at the right time. You can use it. It's kind of nice that you have that with you. What comes in handy? A friend can come in handy if you need an extra helping hand. One time I was moving from one apartment to another apartment in New York, and I had a couple of friends that visited that day. They didn't know that I was packing and getting ready to move. Their help came in handy. They just happened to be there when I needed them.
Or I could say that the Easy Card comes in handy when you want to travel all over Taiwan. They pretty much accept the Easy Card all over the island now.
Yeah, they do.
So it comes in handy. It's very useful. So her resolve is very useful. She's very determined. She doesn't give up easily, so she's planning a birthday party for her twins, whose names are Cece and Kate. And she knows it has to be a celebration to remember, as achondroplastic children born to parents with the same condition have a much lower rate of survival. Oh, that sounds kind of sad, actually.
Yeah. So they've got this birthday party that they're planning. The fact that the girls made it to their third birthday is considered a blessing. A lot of these kids don't survive, especially when their parents have the disease as well. So they feel like there's a lot to celebrate because they've had 3 years with these cute little twins. If something's a blessing, you think it comes from God, or maybe you pray to something else, maybe a God that just listens to you and grants something to you that you're asking for. They were praying, of course, that their daughters would survive longer than expected, and it looks like their prayers came true. Now they're going to celebrate the fact that these twins are 3 years old.
Okay, did it actually say how long they're expected to live? We don't really know, but we can tell here that the fact they made it to the third birthday is beating the odds.
Wow.
So it's considered a blessing, a gift from God. And finding a venue and the perfect gifts is no mean feat, though, especially after Dan decides he wants to build the girls brand new beds for their big day. So, of course, oftentimes when kids are small, parents want to have big birthday parties for their kids. You need to find a venue for a birthday party. I remember when my daughter was quite young, we went to a McDonald's one time for a birthday party.
Yeah.
And then a friend of hers had a birthday party at some horse stables somewhere. That was the venue for the birthday party. That means that's where it's taking place, where you're going to have this birthday party. If you're inviting too many people and your house is too small, then you need to find some place outside.
Yeah. Oh, those birthday parties for kids can be quite exciting. And the kids, of course, are thrilled. I'm sure it's not a peaceful environment for a while because kids are so loud. So finding a venue and the perfect gifts is no mean feat. No mean feat here is a phrase we use to say, hey, it took a lot of work. It was hard, but we did it. So it wasn't easy, though, especially after Dan decides he wants to build the girls brand new beds for their big day. Wow. So it sounds like he is pretty handy with a saw and a hammer. He's doing some construction work here on beds for his girls. Brand new means absolutely new. It's never been used before. It's what you want. Brand spanking new is what we say sometimes. Brand spanking new.
Yep, to emphasize the fact that it's new, it hasn't been used or touched by anybody else. So the girls will be the first ones to use these beds, so the beds are brand new. And I guess the problem here is that if he wants to build those beds and present them to the girls on their birthday, they need to find a place that will allow them to bring the beds in there. And they need to arrange transportation to get the beds to the venue. I'm not quite sure what the complications are. Gee, I'm quite intrigued intrigued by this, so I think I'm going to tune into this program myself to find out exactly how he gets the brand new beds to the venue. But luckily, Dan and Michelle are armed with a lifetime of tips and tricks to use in surmounting the curveballs such a simple task might throw at them. Interesting. They're using a baseball metaphor in this sentence here. Let's talk about some of these terms first here. Be armed with something. Usually if you're armed, that means you have a weapon. So if you're armed with something, that means you have some special kind of skill or talent or maybe even a weapon itself that you can use to your advantage.
Yeah. So if you're surmounting curveballs, that's the phrase we're using. You can surmount by overcoming some difficulty or obstacle. And curveballs in baseball are hard to hit. They're just hard. At one point, your eye is following the ball, and then it goes a different direction, and they strike out a lot with these curveball pitchers. So she's not going to let those curveballs beat her. She's surmounting them. She's beating the obstacles placed before her. And so she's really, sounds like both the parents are handling this very well. And it's a show that might inspire you to deal with your own obstacles in life a little better.
Indeed. So check it out. If you're bored of playing with your phone, if you're at home with nothing to do, tune in and watch TLC and check out this program, Our Little Family. It's been a pleasure talking about it. It's time now to turn things over to our Chinese teacher.
接下来我们要看到 Michelle 这个妈妈为她的双胞胎的这一对姐妹来规划生日派对。在这里的中间的句子提到 The fact that the girls made it to their third birthday is considered a blessing. 在这里呢 the fact 是主词，后面有个名词子句由 that 所引导，可以括号起来 that 括到 birthday。 这样子的事实，怎么样的事实呢？也就是呢这对姐妹可以呢成功的活到第3个生日，这样的事实is considered a blessing， 被视为是一件祝福，是一件幸运的事情。在这里的 blessing 当作是祝福跟幸运的事的意思。最后一句提到 Luckily, Dan and Michelle are armed with a lifetime of tips and tricks to use in surmounting the curveballs such a simple task might throw at them. 为了要规划一个完美的生日派对，很幸运的是 Dan and Michelle， 也就是这对夫妇呢 are armed with， 在这里呢我们就代表着他拥有着什么的东西，当作是他们的武器，这里是延伸出来的意思。他们有很多的 tips and tricks， 很多的秘诀跟妙计来克服呢，其实一般人来讲可能是简单的任务，但对他们来讲是非常的困难。在这里我们用到 in surmounting the curveballs， 也是衍生出来的意思。 surmount 也有克服越过的意思，而 curveballs 原来的意思是曲球，但是在这里解释成为难题的意思。后面 such a simple task might throw at them 括号起来可以修饰前面的 curveballs， 这样子简单的任务可能向他们所抛出的难题。 OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
Thanks for joining us, guys. We've got one more day that we're going to spend with our little family, Dan and Michelle and their 3 kids, Jack, Cece, and Kate. We hope you'll join us then. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.